Hey y'all, I'm sure you've heard of code switching, so let's talk about it. I'm Dr. Ashley Gaddy Robbins. I'm a diversity, equity, and inclusion consultant, a speaker, and a scholar studying systems of power and oppression and the impacts on individuals and the greater world. I am also here to be a bridge from the academy to the streets. So I love giving content in a really good, authentic way in ways that we can learn and make practical behavior decisions. A few days ago, I asked for some things that you all want to talk about, and I got this response. So, we're going to talk about some code switching. Code switching, or communication accommodation theory, as it is formally known. We most know it as code switching. It's something we've probably all heard before, seen before, and quite honestly, we may do ourselves. Have you ever heard your parent or somebody on the phone switch up their voice when they have to take a call? I know it happened in my household, okay? My mama would be telling me off, and then all of a sudden, hello, so and so. And I'm like, wait, what's that voice? Because you weren't talking to me in that voice. So we probably have heard somebody switch it up. But code switching is a lot more deeper than just your parents' phone voice. It actually started, the research started back when we were looking at dual languages, English and Spanish, but it has since evolved to think about the ways in which people change their language, their dialect, their accent, their tone in order to fit the larger community for a sense of belonging or for a sense of identity. And this also, even when we hear the definition, might be like, okay, everybody does that, but let me tell you why it is connected to systems of power. When we think about what's normal or what's norm in a workplace or in society, we have certain aspects or certain thoughts or certain expectations, especially in the workplace. This word professionalism is really steeped in these expectations and norms of European culture, right? You need to talk a certain way to sound professional. You need to dress a certain way. Your hair needs to be a certain way. Your nail needs to be a certain length. All of these expectations of what is professional really are tied through white supremacist patriarchal lens. So when we think about what is norm, lots of people who have been marginalized or in vulnerable communities, especially Black and Brown folks, often find code switching as the way that they have to be seen or the way that they have to be able to be promoted, elevated, get the job, etc. Black and Brown folks have been socialized, have been told that you need to change aspects of yourself so that you can be seen as professional or good enough. And so we will put on our job voice, right? We will hide our accent. We won't talk how we talk at home so that we can make sure that we sound more like this in order to have our professional voice. That's code switching. And it's completely exhausting. And so, what it is it really is this tactic, this strategy that has to be used or that people think have to be used in order to be seen as less Black and more professional. And that's a problem. Because I am who I am, because I talk how I talk, because I have braids in my hair, because I have long nails, because I am not going to change my Southern accent, all of this is still professional. And so code switching is not something that's done out of, fun to be just seen as one of the, one of the others. It is actually a tactic of power and control that makes Black and Brown people and other people in vulnerable communities feel like they have to lose aspects of themselves in order to be seen as visible. Now, here's what I will always say. Code switching has been a process and a strategy of survival for years, for centuries. In order to literally live, Black and Brown folks, especially Black folks in the South, have had to conform and had to hide and switch up aspects of their language, aspects of their dress, aspect of their gestures, of their looks, in order to be in order to be seen as proper, as order to be seen as non-threatening. Because right when a Black person was and sometimes still is unfortunately seen as threatening, they are automatically going to be a target. And so I am here to absolutely say that I understand that my ancestors had to code switch for survival, and I honor them for doing what they had to do to survive. However, there are ways now that we can resist this process of code switching. We need to be creating inclusive workspaces that really dismantle this word professional and unpack this word and help people at the job and people who are job searching understand that who they are authentically is professional. Once you are talking about the job requirements, once you are talking about, the skill that it has for the job, my accent, how I talk, right? Naturally, being from the South Side, how I talk, my African American vernacular English is professional. And I should not have to switch up my voice to sound like this so that I can be appeasing to the job market. The other thing I want to say about code switching or this kind of aspect of changing yourself up for benefit, it is being turned on its head through a process called blackfishing. Blackfishing is when white people, especially on social media platforms, are actually changing aspects of themselves to present more black. They will actually change how they talk to sound more black. So, one, they can be seen as cool or popular or modern on social media. But two, they also gain more followers this way. They actually are promoting products that are specific to Black communities, and they are making money off of their followers, off of their products, off of their brand deals. So, that's the other thing, is that one aspect of code switching that was for survival for Black and Brown people is power is now shifting that to say, oh, now, this is cool and we can make profit off of it because Black culture is cool. And that is problematic. That is white privilege at its core, the desire and the ability to switch up aspects of your language, of your tone, of your dress, appropriating Black culture for profit. So we really have to work to understand what code switching is, what it was for survival, why it is problematic, why we need to resist against it through ways of inclusion and authenticity, but also understand how it is being abused in order for power to sustain itself. That cannot happen. So if you find that you are a person who is code switching, right? You're in a vulnerable community and you feel the need to have to switch up aspects of yourself in order to fit into the larger community or in order to fit into your workplace, I am here to encourage you to really self-reflect and ask yourself, what are some ways that I can begin to personally resist against this strategy of code switching in order to reveal and express more authentic aspects of me? Now, listen, I will never come between somebody and their livelihood, right? Just like our ancestors had to code switch for survival. If you are like, this is how I have to pay my bills and eat my food and pay for my family, do what needs to be done. But understand what's happening between the system and the individual when we're thinking about this process of code switching. And the last thing I will say is organizations, leaders, people in power, it is your responsibility. It is our responsibility to make sure that we are understanding what's happening behind this process of code switching and that we are releasing policies, procedures, practices that make individuals feel that they have to do this in the first place. I am not just speaking to the individuals and encouraging them to code switching. I'm speaking more accountability to people in places of power that make folks feel like they have to code switch. So I encourage you to do a deep dive into your workplace culture, into your community culture, into your employee handbook, and all of these other policies to really kind of also resist and dismantle this powerful system. If you need help to do so, I am a consultant and I can help you all. I hope this was helpful, and I cannot wait to share more content with you. Peace.